I had purchased a new proton accelerator, but Tina was angry because she said, "There's nothing wrong with the old proton accelerator." My son was upset because he wanted an electron D accelerator. I screamed, "Listen, everyone." We were all crying and laughing. I got a new proton accelerator because we needed it. Tina said again, "No, we didn't." But I pointed out that the old proton accelerator wasn't actually accelerating the protons, but was simply exaggerating them. Tina got a stunned look on her face. "Oh," she said, "I didn't realize that." This is called Nature and the Nature of the Nature. There was a giant spot of nothing in the cupboard that I wouldn't have noticed except for the spotlight on it and the disco music playing and the announcer in my ear yelling, "Behold, giant spot of nothing. Behold, giant spot of nothing. Bow down." So I beheld and I bowed and I began a fractured worship. I received divine inspiration and wrote a holy book. My book began, "In the beginning there was a giant spot of nothing in the cupboard. So shall it be in the middle and in the end as well." Nobody was interested in my new religion. Seriously, Tina, the indifference was overwhelming. This is called Emily Dickinson. She was a famous American poet. Emily Dickinson. She's all like, "I like writing and I'm good at it." She's like, "I like white and looking out of windows," and like, "I like baking bread and the Bible," and like, "I like my alone time." She's like, "It's cool." They're like, "I don't know if it's cool." She's like, "It is." And they're like, "You're weird." And she's like, "No, I'm not. Maybe you're weird." And they're like, "No, you're weird." And she's like, "Am not." And they're like, "Are too." And she's like, "Nuh-uh." And they're like, "Uh-huh." And she's like, "Whatever." And talk to the hand and whatever. And they're like, "Whatever." And she's like, "Whatever." See, there's children in the audience. I mean, I've got nothing without profanity. That's not entirely true. We'll see what we can do. This is called Poser. When the snow really falls, one can produce snow forts all gutted from giant snow piles. If one is not a giant pile of snow, one doesn't have to watch Cocktail on TV. But not doing so would be pretty stupid and pretty immature. Besides, as a biologist, I have obligations to science that don't allow me to change sides. Freedom isn't free, Tina. This is called skateboarding. I skate for me and my homeboys. We grind and carve. Let's skate. We yell that shit, Tina. We fucking yell it. We're behind the grocery store, Tina, shredding this curb, and John Law comes up and is like, "Scram!" So lame. And I'm adjusting my beret. And Tina, my skate Betty, I know you love me, but I can't even explain how much I will skate or die. Since we do have the children in the audience, I'm going to read a couple poems from Poetry, and Poetry is all poems that are addressed to something or another. So poem addressing such and such, poem addressing such and such. So for instance, this is poem addressing boys age 5, which doesn't quite fit, but we're getting there. This poem can turn invisible and it can beat up bad guys. When people read this poem, it is like a laser shooting bad guys right in the stomach. This poem knocks bad guys on their bottoms. And if you need a force field, you can get one from Dr. Defense, who lives in this poem and makes a number of bad guy fighting tools and weapons. Sometimes giant robot bad guys try to kill this poem by bopping it on the head, but this poem doesn't allow that, and it sends ninjas and wizards out to reverse time and destroy the robots. Dr. Defense jumps up and kicks everyone in the face, and he like flies through a window, and then like this poem explodes. This is a poem addressing babies. Isn't this a good poem? Oh yes, it is a very good poem. This is a very good poem. Oh yes it is. Yes it is. Oh yes it is. What do you think, honey? What are you thinking, baby? Oh baby, sweet baby. Yes, that's a sweet baby. Are you a smiling baby? Yes. Oh yes, you're smiling, aren't you? Cutie, you're such a cutie. My goodness, aren't you a cutie? Isn't this a good poem? Yes, it is a good poem. Yes, it is. Whose fat little cheeks are those? Are those your fat little cheeks? Oh, you're a sweetie. Sweetie pie, my little cutie fat cheeks. Oh, little pretty pie. Oh, yes, it is a good poem. Oh, yes, it is. It is a good poem. This is a poem addressing people reading this underwater. This is a strange place for you to be reading a poem. And the odds that you're reading poetry underwater and you come across a poem that is about that situation, fantastic. The universe can be incredible. Just try to take this in a moment. This is really something. I love that. Poem addressing people who are reading this for the third or fourth time. I've heard that good poems reward you again and again each time you read them. I basically believe that too. So by now, I'm guessing you're pretty blown away. This is a poem addressing fans of Celine Dion. I look at myself in the mirror all the time, as you might, and I just think, what the fuck? I'm going to read, I guess I'll just read, I guess I'll read two more poems. This poem is called Hurts. There is an action in this world referred to as suicide, and people take this action from time to time, and they leave behind friends and family and loved ones, and then those people live with the loss of the person who used the suicide action to leave this place for something better. I don't mean for heaven or nirvana or some sort of beach resort where there is always an open bar, an open buffet, and parrots saying words, and beautiful people walking around in angelic bathing suits. The something better they are after is simply not here, and so they go to see what is not here. And what they leave behind is what is not here anymore. They leave this space that was once full of humanness, but is now full of complete unfullness. And we, the people looking in at this unfullness, feel anxious and scared because it was all so simple and so easy to accomplish. To watch the world drain and become empty is easy. There is suddenly more air everywhere. Everywhere you look, all you see is more air. And air is a good thing, but more air is scary. And so you try to breathe it all in as quickly as possible. There is this idea that you can convert it to life. And you can. It just hurts. And then I'm going to close by reading this poem. This is called The Egyptian Revolution of 2011. I read this poem at Manchester College, I guess, Manchester College. And afterwards someone said, hey, does that poem, The Egyptian Revolution of 2011, have anything to do with the Egyptian Revolution of 2011? And I was like, you bet it does. I mean, that's on it, you know? I like it when people are paying attention. I just love my kids. I mean, what does love even mean when you've got my kids involved? I'm so glad when it's a snow day and they get to stay home from school. I think it's fucking great when there's a snow day. I think it's great when they're home. And in this moment when they're not here and I'm alone in this house, I start writing. And what do I start writing? I start writing how I love my kids. I am amazed at myself, really. I mean, what can I do as a human? I can love my kids a shit ton is one thing. I didn't know I could be so loving. I never figured I was unloving. I just didn't know I'd love my kids so much. I really love them. It is icy out, but I took them each to a friend's house for something to do. I want them to be happy, 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 happy. I hope they grow into large machines of love who swell around the town and make little quiet neighborhoods weep. I hope they have kids so I can have kids again who maybe I will love like how I love my kids. Maybe they'll be just like my kids and I will love them just like I love my kids. What I love about my kids is unbelievable. I don't believe it. It's such a world of love that there is no word for it. And what really kills me is that many other people in this world who are humans have felt the love that I have for my kids. And their love is no different, and my love is no better, and my love is no more pure or less pure or unequal to in any way. There is nothing to mention here how much I love my kids. There is nothing to say about that at all. This dangerous fucking world with its corruptness and violent revolutions and whatnot, bullwhips and slipknots and ugly, ugly, messy stuff. And it's only so ugly and messy and stuff because of how much I love my kids. Thank you.